Hey everyone, welcome back to Collectively Connected. Today we're diving into something that affects all of us. Can we truly trust the systems that shape our lives?
From government and education to healthcare and even the food we eat, more and more people are waking up to the corruption hiding in plain sight.
This episode, we're exploring what many are calling the Great Awakening. We'll share personal stories of realizing just how deep these systemic issues go and discuss the struggles of those who haven't seen it yet.
And it's not just about calling out the problems. It's about tapping into the incredible potential we each have to create positive change. We're talking about personal transformation, healing from generational traumas, and how collective action can shift us towards something better.
So stick with us as we discuss how we can move from outdated, broken systems to something more innovative and sustainable. It's time to awaken, unite, and build a world where creativity and abundance can thrive.
Ready to join the conversation? Let's get into it.
Hey baby,
Hi.
how you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's Sunday. Sun is out. It's a beautiful day today.
It's really nice today. I was looking at just the comments on different social platforms and stuff, and it just got me thinking and also excited for just where we are, as a country coming together. And I'm just seeing so many people that are having something to say with what's going on with our country and just where we are.
Yeah, I think
That some bad stuff's going on and that we're all aware of the gravity of the situation that people are all waking up to,
yeah,
calling it the Great Awakening,
right.
which I think is just,
I think we're hearing that a lot
yeah.
on social media platforms, in podcasts.
Mhm.
I think even mainstream media is using that terminology.
Right.
Yeah, the Great Awakening. How do you define that?
Well, I didn't know it was a thing, but you got to put a title on something.
Always.
It's just what we're calling something. I feel like this is something that I've been aware of. If you can call it the majority or the collective, they're starting to realize that something's going on with our country, in the world, and for some reason, just things aren't getting much better. And so when you start looking into that, of looking at why is this happening, how is this happening, who's behind this, you start to realize there's some various activities going on that have been going on for a long time.
Right.
And I think that when people start really sitting down and putting those things together, you're like, wait. And I've just been oblivious, basically. Some
Right.
people are like, well, what have I been doing to allow this to happen for so long? And so when you ask me about what my definition of the awakening is, it's people basically coming to that realization like, holy crap, I've been like watching and dealing with nonsense all my life. And I've been
Sleepwalking through
sleepwalking
life.
basically and not paying attention to bad people basically moving into positions of power that have been making my life more difficult. And now I'm finally aware that these people need to be stopped.
Right.
And who are major players that have snuck into positions of power, like I said, and they're doing things that could affect my family, our income. All of these things are planned by bad people. And so I think just coming to that realization and saying, okay, I'm paying attention now. I'm paying attention to who's doing what laws are being passed, what politicians are saying what. It's an election year, who's saying what. And I feel like this great awakening is there's a mass amount of people that are all coming to that same conclusion that something's going on
Yeah,
and that
something's not right
that
here.
something's not right, and we're all kind of uniting, and that we all need to come together, put the petty arguments to the side, and really start focusing on the people that are really putting us in this position.
Right.
So,
Well, that's a good
what
description.
would you say your interpretation of the Great Awakening is?
I think it's similar to that, where we've almost been robotically moving through our lives with no thought to what we eat, no thought of going to the doctor and taking the medicines that they prescribe, no thought in the educations that we're getting, no thought in voting or not voting. Does it really matter? Does it not? And I say those things because I am waking up to all of those things, thinking like, I trusted all of these regulations, government organizations that are supposed to help regulate our food, the education system, help regulate the taxing system, help all of that, apparently for the people's benefit. The mistake is not thinking that you had to pay attention or we had to pay attention. And so I understand the asleep person. I also understand the awakening person, the person who is like rubbing their eyes and clearing, the veil in front of them and saying, wow, and really looking at what reality really is, that there is poison in our food, that there is something wrong with the education system, that there is something wrong with the monetary system, that there is something wrong with the religious system. Basically, pick a topic, something's been infiltrating it. And so the waking up to the true reality and not the reality that we've been programmed to believe is beneficial for us. That would be my kind of explanation of how I view the Great Awakening. So now it's crazy to think that I didn't see it before. And I know there's probably a lot of people feeling that way, where, like you said, where have I been? Have I been living under a freaking rock?
Mm-hmm.
Have I not been a part of society when we all have? And it's like, wow, well, how did we not see this? But at the same time, those waking up are seeing the people that aren't. And a lot of us are kind of asking, like, what can we say? What can we do? Because as this podcast's name is collectively connected, collectively we can make a difference. And it seems like we're so divided, not by accident, right? This division has been put in place as you start to wake up on purpose.
I think a good question that sums that up is, how do you convince someone that something is wrong when they don't believe that something is wrong?
Mm,
So
right.
when you're seeing this big divide and people who have no idea any of this has happened, they have no idea that we have a corrupt government. They have no idea that the media is constantly lying to us every day. They have no idea that the people that are put in these positions of power to protect us are actually the ones siphoning money and putting our economy in the way it is. Like, people have no idea. They're just going to work. It's a regular day. You're back home going about your lives. And I get it. You have kids, you have work, you have family life, you got to cut the grass, you got to do whatever.
Right.
You got to live your life. And so you don't wake up on a Monday morning and say, I wonder what's going on with my government right now. I guess you guys should check in and see what's going on with the status of the activity of my government's efficiency, right? Like, you're not
Nobody
thinking,
does that.
exactly. You're
Nobody,
getting up, going to work.
yeah,
You're doing what you do. So I think it's because the American people, the average citizen, has never stopped to do that. We've allowed this kind of stuff to happen.
Right.
The people who are starting to awaken to that, they're in a good place, but there's still a lot of people who haven't. And that's the point that I'm trying to make, is how do you reach those people? Do you just throw some facts at them? Do you make them feel stupid? Do you ask questions and kind of meet them where they are? There's so many different ways to reach them, and we need to reach them. Because these are our brothers and sisters, and we're all citizens of this country.
Right.
And if you have no idea what's going on, how are we going to be able to count on you to help join in the fight for humanity, for our country's future?
And this isn't just our country. This is happening globally.
Right.
There's some energies that are brewing, and it's really impacting the whole world.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of exciting to be here in the flesh, to be able to witness it. It's exciting.
Yeah, I think, you can look at it a couple of different ways. You can look at it for what I just said and just break down and fear and, oh my gosh, what can we do? I'm paycheck to paycheck and I can barely even keep a roof over my head. And I got to worry about the government and all this stuff.
And a potential collapse of it.
What can I do as a single person? I'm just trying to get by.
There's such a fear in the transition, because what is happening also through this awakening is the old ways of doing things, the old ways of governing, the old ways of money, the old ways of medicine, of education, our food. Those old ways are essentially dying and falling, and, they need to come crashing down. So I think the fear of how are we going to survive those things, the struggle is people can't see the new world yet, which exists out there,
right?
Which I'm excited to start diving into some of those conversations with you. I feel like our podcast started really heavy with politics, but only because there's so much going on in that world of politics. We're coming up to a very important election. And so it is the topic at hand right now across the board. A lot of podcasts are talking about it. A lot of mainstream media obviously is covering that a lot. And as it gets closer, it is. But I also want to share with people that new way of money, the new way of how our food supply will be handled, the new way of how our pollution and cleaning up our air and our waters and our planet, it's all there in the horizon.
Right.
There are people working really hard to make this transition easy. So don't fear it.
Yeah.
Let's embrace that we are going to show up when we need to show up.
Right.
To fight for our future, to fight for our freedoms. And that's what this is all about. That's what the Great Awakening is to get it brewing deep inside of you, because it's not only the awakening of what you see outside of the world, it's also the awakening within you, the you that deserves to be recognized, that creativeness inside of you is also waking up. Because what we need on this planet right now is creation, creating new things, creating new ideas, creating new ways that we want to live. And it's inside of all of us. And we all need to come together to find those things, to heal ourselves, to be able to dig in and have those creative cells in our body start to come out and create something in this 3D.
Yeah, I feel like it's long overdue for this awakening to happen. When you start to wake up, you start to kind of get curious and play detective on things. Okay, if these people have been doing this to me, how long has this been happening? That would make you even more irate when you kind of go back and say, okay, this has been generations. How far along could we be? Now we start to think about the people who are in power, how long they've been doing this. You've grown up your entire life. It's basically been, I don't want to say a lie, but I mean, if where we could have been, it's like, that's only in your wildest imaginations. And as you were saying, with people just creating and doing and being, what could that have looked like over the course of 3 or 4 lost generations of what could have been had they been allowed to? But these positions of power have been almost suppressing us as humans, suppressing our rights, suppressing our creation, suppressing our innovation. We start to really look back at all, even lost technology, all the stuff that could have been. I think just waking up to the possibility
Right.
is huge right now. And I think that alone is very powerful. The possibility of what we could be as human beings, like that's a loaded question if you really kind of ask somebody that. Like, what's the possibility of what we could be? We could have 1 million people say 1 million different things.
Right.
And all of them are true.
Yeah.
That's our possibility. So when you start to look at that,
there is no bad idea.
Yes, exactly. From anybody, everybody has great ideas. And so you start to look at how we've been living. We've been living someone's idea for so long. It's almost like we've been trapped in almost like a simulated reality. And this is kind of how our society performs. We don't have to be doing all of this. You don't need to go too far down a rabbit hole, but people waking up to just realize the amount of possibilities that are being taken away from us. And once we end up getting those back by taking out the bad people and taking government just out of our lives and restoring that, the amount of just creation, innovation that's going to happen naturally when we're not being suppressed as a people, when we're all living in abundance, when we can actually have that, we can take back our sovereignty, it's going to be pretty amazing.
Yeah. And I think with that suppression, people have claimed that it's been 100 years of suppression. That has also held a lot of people stuck generationally in those traumas. And in order for us to move on, I think it's important for people to understand they have to work through those traumas. Not only is things happening out here, what you're witnessing, but there's change happening in an individual aspect. This is going to be a huge month where the next wave of people are waking up. People that haven't been awoken are going to start to feel these energies because the frequency of this planet is raising, which is causing these people to feel that, like, what is going on here? The people who had been sleeping. And so this new wave, it's kind of like I'd encourage these people to be open-minded to the questions that are crossing your mind and be careful of who you're choosing to listen to. How does it make you feel? Be very aware of how your body is responding to some of the words that are being shared. And also go within yourself and clean and fix your traumas, because these traumas cannot come into the world that we're trying to create. But we have been so stuck in that so suppressed in these traumas that I understand that some people have some really deep rooted things that are hard to work through. But on an individual level, we have to do that for humanity. The way that you come out of that is what the collective consciousness needs. We need you to be rock solid in your mind and in your heart. And that's how we're going to unite together to beat this evil government. That's how we're going to come together with our full hearts, because they've worked so hard to keep us fighting each other. What if you can look at your neighbor and say, how about we unite to fight them?
Thanks for taking the time to listen to Collectively Connected with me, Damien, and my wife, Denise. Remember to subscribe, share, and join in on the conversation. Until next time, friends, stay connected.